Content of this meeting is being sent to 1 or more apps.
No.
The host has started broadcasting the meeting on custom live streaming service.
Yes, it's doing the right thing.
It's very loudly telling everybody all over the world. I got to get that fixed one of these days to where my anyway. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, top of the time zone. Got another month just about done. So at the time of this recording, we're joined by Sam Welch. And you can find him at Sam Welch, WELCH.com. And check out his music. It's some really cool stuff. This guy's an accomplished songwriter. He's a pet owner. He likes cats. He served our country as a member of the military, and some other stuff. Let's get to know Sam Welch now. We're joined by Johnnie J.
Yeah, and also you guys can do some super chats down there to help support the channel as well. And go to our website, innervisionrecords.org, and learn more about our nonprofit and what we do, and partner with us if you can. Yes. So today, like I said, like Alan was saying, we have a fantastic guest on our show, and we've just been growing and growing. And we're probably going to have some fantastic shorts from the show to share with our audience, and get you more involved with what's happening for the high attention catchers and the low attention catchers. We're going to have something special for you towards the end of the show. So welcome to the show, Sam Welch, and we want to enter your world.
Thank you so much. It's great being here. Thank you, Johnnie.
Yeah. So tell us, there's always a beginning to the story. So tell us, like.
Well, I am an artist with a disability, but my art is not my disability. I have been writing music for about 25 years, and I had a nervous breakdown when I was about 19 years old in 1986. So I've used that reservoir of experience to write interesting music, but certainly the music itself goes beyond just any classification of eccentricity or illness. It's art. It's not illness, it's art. So that's my history.
You know, I can identify a little bit with that because I'm trying to work through some difficult points and times in my life, chronicling from 2008 to about now. And there were quite a few rocky patches in my life. So I really do identify. It opens up a reservoir of emotion when you begin to use your life experiences to paint a picture with your songs.
Yeah.
And so how do you channel like your personal experiences into your music?
I write a lot about emotional dysregulation and ways that emotional dysregulation shows up in our lives. And I sort of go across the border from emotional dysregulation to spiritual dysregulation. So there's kind of a Venn diagram between emotions and spirituality that kind of overlaps. And that's where I write all my music. It has to do with fundamentally things in the natural world being either in balance or out of balance. And that balance or imbalance applies to both feelings and spirits. It's part of both worlds.
Yeah. The 12-step program is based a lot on that kind of stuff. It's been a while since I've actually studied the 12-step program, but if I remember right, the 4th or 5th step or something talks about a higher power and whatever we perceive it to be, so to speak. And so, you know, the traditional aspect of Jesus Christ and you know, the biblical viewpoint, sometimes it's not held by everybody. there are offshoots, sects, as it were, of a belief structure, knowing that there is a source, knowing that there is a higher power, as it were, also knowing that we don't have it all together sometimes. We may not have all the answers. So the Unitarian faith is something that's always fascinated me because it's got a lot of history behind it. Started in New England. Oh boy, right around the founding of New England itself, I think.
That's right.
And it's how do I say? It is a foundational belief structure that what it does is the same thing that Christianity does. It empowers people. It empowers them. It drives them. It makes them to understand, okay, we're pieces to a puzzle. We're threads in a tapestry. And so I guess short story long, what does that do for your music there, Sam? I mean,
and specifically like your project, The Republic. I wanted to find out more.
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, what I'm writing about, how this all links together is the theme of transcendence,
right.
as the idea that there is this thing that we go through, and that there are these worlds that we go from and to, and that transition is worth exploring because nobody really does explore it in our society, and it needs to be looked at. The Republic is about the future of the United States and sort of saying, well, what happens when our country ceases to be here, not like it's not here, but like we're going somewhere else, and where are we going, and what's going to happen then? And so the Republic is about the future. I actually sort of came upon that question when I was in the military because I was a little bit psychotic, and I was off my psych meds, and I heard voices coming from the sky. But the thing that impressed me most was the idea of, we're going to be going somewhere. We're going to be going somewhere. Where are we going?
Yes.
And then, of course, your background in economics and philosophy. So, how did that help to guide you in this travel with music and what was going on mentally and things of that sort?
That was that was a brain era of great brain strength. I was a student at Columbia College, or Columbia University in New York City,
Mhm.
in 1986, and I was going to major in philosophy, and I studied German Romantic philosophy, and it was just, I mean, the
Wow.
most challenging thing. I read Hegel and wrote papers about Hegel, and it was very, very challenging. And I use that kind of intellectual scrutiny, but I never really continued along with that. It was more from there. From there, I went to sort of more generalized philosophical themes. But it was certainly a part of my intellectual training that gave me a level of acuity in my intellectual and analytical abilities.
I've often found that folks with great gifts, sometimes folks who, may experience some what some would call disabilities, such as the dissociative emotional, the regulative stuff that you were talking about. It's not something that a lot of folks really understand much about, but what is interesting is there's a lot of genius in there. There's a lot of multilingual capacities, a lot of folks, especially who are artists or musicians, they will often gravitate towards learning of different languages. Just a side note. Sorry, go ahead.
And then also, I mean, as far as like mentorship, I was like traveling with the
Oh,
Columbia Kingsmen.
The
that's
Columbia
right.
Kingsmen, yeah. that was a fantastic way of solidifying my musical reservoir, my base, because the sound that was coming out of those men, that my men's choir at Columbia College was an amazing harmonic creation. And from then on, I was obsessed with harmonic vocal harmonization. I just couldn't get enough of it. And that's really been the mainstay of my music is vocal harmonization. So that's what I've been playing around with since like 2000.
Yeah.
Wow, that's fascinating.
And with Alan, I'm learning a lot about this harmonic and how you can control the feelings of an audience. And I really didn't understand, but I knew that if you played in certain keys, you can bring the emotions down and then you can bring them up as well.
Yeah, the different languages really do open up a side of music theory that maybe people may not get, especially like pianissimo, things like this in Italian, uh, or German, or French, or gosh, how do people notate their music? And it's all different, and it's all beautiful, and whoa.
Yeah. And then you had a chance to travel through Europe. So how did that impact your music? I mean, being that you're from here and then you get a chance to travel throughout the world pretty much.
It was quite an experience going to Europe with my dad and my brother. We did a lot of mountain climbing in Switzerland and Austria and
Mm.
spent a lot of time checking that area out. And it was a great way to kind of understand the fundamental base of who we are as people, sort of where we're from. And I had linguistic, French, German, some Italian. That definitely helped me out along the way.
Yeah.
Mm. And so, like in your time in the Navy, you traveled throughout like
When I was in
different
the Navy,
oceans. Yeah.
no, no. The thing
No?
about me in the Navy was that I was what's known as a prisoner of boot camp.
Ah, okay.
Fortunately, because of my psychiatric disability, what happened was I was not put on psychiatric medication, and as a
Mm.
result of that, I lost the ability to successfully do things right in the Navy, and I did one thing wrong, and then the next thing wrong, and I got recycled. It's called getting recycled when you're a prisoner of boot camp.
Yeah.
You get to a certain level, and then they fail you, and you have to go back to the beginning again. I went through that
Mm.
like 3 times in one summer.
Yeah.
Uh, and it was because of the psychological stuff that if someone had just had the idea of sending me to a psychiatrist in the military to give me some medication, I would have done great. I would have done amazingly well. But unfortunately, they didn't believe that I was qualified for to be medicated, and as a result, I couldn't function. So it was
Mm.
unfortunate. I mean, I would have been going on a 6 year tour of duty on a nuclear submarine, Groton, Connecticut, Seattle, Washington, San Diego, and none of it really because of that history that I had, it just got in the way.
Hey, tell me something. Okay, I noticed like okay, when they're practicing to go into space, they put you on deep under the water in this capsule so you can get used to being weightless. So was that part of it, putting you the boot camp, putting you in small places and seeing how that affected you?
That's a good question. It was boot camp was basically a lot of outdoor activity, a lot of marching, a
Mm.
lot of going to school, going to class, marching. Not a lot of I mean, there was one point where they made us jump off a diving board into the water, but that was about it. So it was um
Wow. Because I
yeah.
would think they would want to know how you would react in in a small confined
Yep,
area. Because those,
like a submarine, you mean, yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
generally, if I understand, and I'll never understand because I'm a blind guy, I've been blind since birth, and I've, could never serve in the military. But my father did serve in the Navy, and he, I guess, was a chief petty officer. But anyway, I guess from what I understand from his stories from boot camp is think of that as a general type of thing. So you go in and you get your general training, you get your, whatever. They evaluate you to an extent, but before you start getting um, your different operational designations and things like that, to where they start specializing you in your field, obviously they they don't put you through some of the more rigorous things, the smaller confined spaces that you were talking about. Those would possibly, well, those would definitely come up during SEAL training. Those would definitely come up during uh, different specialized fields that you might be trained for. But as far as for boot camp, wouldn't you agree, Sam?
I would.
Yeah.
I would.
Yeah. But so the Unitarian faith, how does that mix in with your music as far as like with the lyrics and
Sure,
and,
sure.
and the
So
levels that you're going to go?
the Unitarian faith doesn't really involve the use of a Bible. There literally are no Bibles in Unitarian churches. What there are is hymnals, which have all the Christian hymns in them. So that, I mean, music is a huge part of the Unitarian church. But along with that, the focus in Unitarianism is not on the cosmos or Jesus, it's on nature and natural cycles, natural wellness, natural discord, natural harmony, that God is in nature. And for me, in my understanding of spirituality, it does involve a level
Mike Johnson has joined the meeting.
yeah, it does involve a level of spirituality that's based in the natural world, like in Unitarianism.
Wow.
Oh, and now, hey Joe, just join us. Hey Joe, you were part of the Navy as well, right? Hey Joe, and we were discussing like the Sam said that he went through the boot camp 3 times. It's almost like they were just testing him on the first level and not really letting him go to the next level, and not really realizing that they could have like solved a lot of these problems with just giving him the right medications or whatever. They sort of like wanted
Hey Joe, Mike
to
Johnson to everyone. Good
avoid
morning, all.
that. But
From Hey Joe, Mike Johnson to everyone. Good morning, all. Press
Oh.
F6 is a pop-out bubble window.
Oh,
oh,
hush.
well,
Morning here.
okay, it's good morning to you, but it's good evening to the rest of us. So, hey Joe, so in your experience, because you even wrote songs like about your experience and the buddies that you had in the Navy. Sam, did you come up with any kind of like camaraderie, like with the friends that just were your friends back then and they last a lifetime, or was it just not really that connection?
There was definitely a sense of solidarity with the folks that I was in boot camp with. It was definitely a sense of solidarity. And actually, the first song that I ever wrote and recorded in the year 2000 was a gospel-based song that I wrote on my own and created on my own called Chain Gang. And it's the march, the song that's sung while they could be soldiers, they could be convicts also, but it's a soldier's march, and it's sung by probably 40 or 50 guys, walking along, singing in harmony with each other, with the syncopation of their marching, structuring underneath the singing. And
Right.
that song, it was when I heard that harmony coming out of the Roland BR8, the thing I was using back then to create these vocal harmonies, I said, you know what? I think I have something here. And it's interesting because that song did really well. I mean, even though it's like the first song that I ever wrote 25 plus years ago, it got like 8,000 streams in a few years. I mean, it was just great. So
So
I was,
yeah, it resonated
yeah,
with a lot of people.
it's called Chain. The song is called Chain Gang.
Is that on your website currently, Sam
It is.
Welch?
It's the very first album that I've done. So if you can find it on there, if you go through the different albums, it should be on there, but you can also stream it. Sam Welch Chain Gang.
Where'd you go to boot camp at? Great,
Orlando,
thanks, sir, Sam.
Orlando, Florida.
Oh, I guess I didn't realize they had one there.
There were three then. There was Orlando, Great Lakes, and
And
San
San
Diego.
Diego.
Yeah.
Yeah, I went to San Diego the first time I was in, then Great Lakes the
Yeah.
second.
Wow.
Oh,
So, okay. So also, how do you hope that your music impacts people that have mental challenges and just psychological challenges? How do you think, how you feel, want the music to impact them?
I'd like people to get a sense of hope about recovery from me, the idea that recovery is possible and that recovery through music is also a good thing as well. I'd
Hmm.
like to think that people can have hope when they hear music, and that it gives one hope, and then that gives one the sense that one is able to recover, and just a sense of possibility, sort of that it's possible.
There are times when one reaches the bottom of the bottom, and then the bottom drops out, and they go towards subterranean levels, and the only way out is a pet, a dog, in my case, and
Hmm.
yours, a couple of cats.
Yeah,
Those,
Ophelia
those,
and
And
Lucy.
yeah. Yeah, I wrote a song about my cat Ophelia this past spring called Cat on the Mend.
yeah.
It's about healing. Ophelia had a really hard life medically because both she and Lucy were born with congenital allergies, which when cats get allergies, they get them in their ears and they
Hmm.
scratch like crazy. And Ophelia's been scratching for most of her life. And then I was actually able to switch her to a much better vet last spring, and she's doing great now. So it's a fantastic thing. And I wrote a song about it when I knew that it might happen. I sat down and I wrote a song called Cat on the Mend, and then I started performing the song and she got better. So
Wow.
yeah,
It's really weird. Because a friend of mine, he has something going on with his ear, and I was looking on the website because he gave me the name of what he wanted me to get, and I kept seeing the stuff about for cats and dogs. I'm thinking like, why is this powder to get off this infection or whatever in the ear, and all? They're mostly talking about cats and dogs. So I guess that is just something that happens quite a bit.
Yeah,
Eh,
the way that the ear canal of animals like cats or dogs is shaped, it can get irritated easily. Sometimes things like yeast infections can even take
yeah,
place.
yeah.
So,
especially in dogs with long ears.
yeah,
hmm.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Wow.
It's a
Now,
challenge, giving the medication is a challenge because there's a lot of it, but it's fortunately it is working. So
That's so awesome. I
yeah,
think it's the
yeah.
best ever. So you
yeah.
said that the music appeared to get your cat better after you started performing some of this stuff. There's a lot to this stuff. There's scientifically speaking, if you can trust the science, there's a quantum physics that backs this stuff up. This study that they talk about. But there is a book that I read, and so a man thinketh, so it shall be. And that's a real foundational piece within that book. And, you know, obviously, I am one of those Bible thumpy guys, but I
Hmm.
am, open minded enough to be like, there are other people that believe differently or believe similarly enough to where, hey, we may not get to the same destination at the same time, but, you know,
Hmm.
God's God. He'll sort us out.
Oh, definitely. Hey, now I want to talk about your experience, like, because I always like to let artists know that there's ways. I mean, you could do it yourself, like signing up on PROs and
Yeah.
sound exchange and media base. But the company I found you on, it was this radio
Radio
pluggers.
pluggers. Yeah.
Now, I'm assuming that they take care of all that, what I would call
Distribution.
boring paperwork.
The boring paperwork, the
Yeah,
distribution aspect, the
yeah,
marketing,
And you told us a story. I think you told us you said something about you found yourself with this report that says you were on all these hundreds of
Yeah.
stations, but it didn't really
Yeah.
resonate with you. Or tell us that story about
Yeah.
that.
I had an attorney look into this, whether I was actually getting scammed or not, and they said that it was legit. The first year I started working with the studio that I was working with, they gave me a spin report that said that in the past 9 months I had gotten like over 100,000 spins on 100 different radio stations in 50 different states, and they listed each song and when, how many times it was played and everything. And it was, I mean, it was opaque at best. Um,
Hmm.
and I've had a similar experience since then. I've done campaigns with digital radio play. I did one of those. I did a college radio campaign, and then I just did the radio pluggers one. And it's you don't when your songs are being played on the radio, you don't really. It's not like you're aware of it ever happening, unfortunately.
Hmm.
Just kind of happens. So
Yeah.
So ASCAP, ASCAP,
yeah, they
CSAT,
don't track any of that.
they just
Yeah.
don't track any of
No,
that
no.
BMI. Wow, that's
Now,
crazy.
now, do you know if your music was in it like elevator or grocery stores?
It's not at the sync licensing level. That's called
Oh,
sync licensing when you give away the rights for different commercial projects. But that is the next thing that I'm in the process of working on right now. I've created something called a disco catalog, which is it's a company. Disco is actually the name of a company that does a music management software program that you can buy, and you can create a catalog of your music. And I have a disco catalog, which I'm distributing to music supervisors, who are the people that make the decisions about who's going to use what and where and when. So it's just
yeah. Now,
Music
hey,
supervisors are still pretty big. AI is really gonna give them a run for their money, especially, given the fact that a lot of this information can be kind of cookie cutter put in, and all you got to do is change the artist and the persona,
hmm,
and you're good to go to promote another one.
yeah. Now,
right.
it was this company called Taxi. Hey, Joe, you had some experience with that, and you said your sister signed you up for that, and what happened with that?
Oh, because when you sign up with Taxi, they ask you what you're doing, and I was just there to push my songs, not my performance by any means. I'm not that good of a performer,
No.
but
Hmm.
some of the songs I have were pretty good, and the feedback I got from them was, well, you need to put more feeling into the song. Well, sorry, the song isn't for me to be singing, you know. And then that's what I got all the time with Taxi.
Yeah.
For the you pay for the subscription, then you have to pay for the bullshits, pardon my French, the bullshit reviews that you get.
Hmm.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You actually,
That's wild.
that's the funniest thing is you actually pay for that.
But you know what? I'm thinking like, okay, Sam, okay, so your music playing on these stations. I'm thinking like, if you were working with someone that they could lead that into like performances, especially if it was like in your area where, okay,
Yeah.
you're my song on this station, go on that
Yeah.
station, interview, and then say, hey, let's set up a concert. But you didn't have the manager like Rick, who managed what's her name?
Taylor Swift.
Yeah, Taylor Swift. Yeah, because he came
I
up with
had-
some ideas like go on the station, do a in-station interview, and then set up a intimate concert from that.
I
And
mean,
it's like,
I've never done a live concert based on that dynamic. I have done a lot of radio interviews that have played my music on the interview itself, but I've never actually performed live as a part of a connection like that. So you're right, and if I had a better manager, that probably would have happened by now. So
Yeah,
yeah,
well, that's one thing about music supervisors is the first rule in music business or the film industry is relationships,
mm,
relationships, relationships. And so
yeah,
AI will never, ever be able to form those like humankind does. And so samwelch.com, that's Sam Welch, WELCH.com. Check this guy's music out. Man, I mean, disco catalog going on.
You can sign up for my newsletter too if you go on my website. It's a free newsletter.
Yep. Yep.
Oh, definitely, definitely. Well, and one of the reasons we didn't play the music here is because YouTube and Facebook, they either mute the music or they give you a strike. So we definitely want you to go.
A little bit. Hey, you know, one way that you can get around this is Innervision FM does help to promote disabled musicians, whether they're physically disabled or otherwise financially challenged, even, or all of that, all the above. I mean, we just want to help people get their music out there. And so, folks, we need your help. Innervisionrecords.org. Check out the links. Don't forget to check out samwelch.com. And we got Hey Joe. You are working on some wow. You sent me some stuff last night, blew my tiny little mind. I guess you got quite a few songs in the can yourself.
Yeah, I've got quite a few.
As he says something. Oh man. Well, we're gonna be working on that, and so Sam, I just really appreciate you and like I said, we're gonna be sending out some shorts based on this show, and for some reason they get a lot of hits, and so I know there's gonna be some meaty stuff within this interview.
That's
So I really
great.
appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right. So hey, you guys, tomorrow we are going. I forgot. We're gonna be interviewing Lorraine. Wait, Velour. Velour. And she was in Florida. Now she's in Alaska, and so we'll be interviewing her. And then on Wednesday we're going to be interviewing this lady called Summer Breeze. Now you might remember that song was Seals and Cross.
Yeah.
Then Isley Brothers made it. So we're going to find out, like, did she get the name from which
that?
came? Yeah.
So stay tuned to Innervision FM. God bless everybody, and man, just stay frosty out there. It's a wonderful world.